Being good at sports, do you think your coaches treat you differently from the rest of the team?
Absolutely, 100%. It's a common fact, winners get special treatment. Winners are the ones who get strings pulled from them, all that stuff. And I guess, I don't want to say that, but I get away with a lot of things and because I consider myself a winner.
There tends to be leniency towards those who contribute to the team more than others. As a result, these players have more agency.
How do you respond to them treating you differently? Or in other words, what authority do you have?
I thrive off of it. You know, people do things for you. You need to do those things. The things they expect of you, you need to do them twice as hard. You know, if Coach Malone, my dad, or Mr. Adams are busting their back to do something for me, I'm gonna go out there on that mat, on that soccer field, and I'm gonna score 3 goals. I'm gonna pin somebody. You know, you gotta take advantage of the time you have, especially when people are sacrificing theirs just so you could be good.
Do you feel like now you're in control of your future with sports?
I'm a master of my own destiny. You know, a lot of people in the past, up until my senior year, they would always tell me good luck, but this year I made my own phrase. When someone tells me good luck, I say I make my own luck, because you got to own it if you want it. You got to make stuff happen. They're not just going to happen for you.
Agency is constrained within certain contexts, such as a meet, where the officials limit the player's power.
Okay, and lastly, did you feel like sports affected your academic performance?
Absolutely. I maintained a 90 average. I'm going to Cornell. You know, I go from track to soccer to wrestling. I don't get back till 11 o'clock at night. Sometimes you got to dig deep if you're going to write that essay. And a lot of times, sometimes it gets the best of me, but I'm learning to balance it well. And it's safe to say it's not easy getting to the top.
Sports can provide agency to be accepted to a college, but also limit it. It is difficult to still do well in school when sports take up most of your time. This limits the agency to fit the criteria for certain colleges.
What did you have to do to get on a varsity team?
They put you through like some tests, and you had to do like, see how far you could jump, and do some pull-ups, and you had to, for the swim team, you had to swim a couple laps and show them you knew how to do it.
According to Neon and Drew in the Theory Toolbox, none of us is in control of the social spaces that we inhabit, nor are we completely in control of the subject positions that we occupy. Max knew he would be subject to the coach's passes for failing him, but he didn't know if his teammates would accept him. The older members have the authority to embrace Max or not.
How was the transition of playing a middle school team to a high school team or a club team?
It's a lot different, because like the high school team's a lot more serious, and you have like playoffs and stuff like that, and you go to counties. And middle school's kind of like, it's not as serious.
An 8th grader playing on a high school team goes against a dominant ideology that varsity sports are only meant for upperclassmen. As a result, the other team members may treat the 8th grader differently, and he may start behaving that way towards his friends and teammates. What were the older members' reactions to you being on the team?
They treated me good. I mean, the older kids are normally nice to you. They're nice to the younger kids, because they just want to make you feel comfortable on the team. You can do your best, I guess.
How did your friends feel about you being on the team?
Thought it was cool. A couple of my friends did other varsity teams and stuff, and they thought it was cool.
Did being on a team with older people make you act differently? You mature?
Yeah, it makes you mature a little more, but it doesn't really make you act differently around them.
Although Max felt comfortable on the team, other young 8th graders might have felt that they were subject to the older members, which made them act more mature. They had the agency to change their personality because of their environment.
How did your coaches treat you compared to the older teammates? They didn't really treat you differently. They don't really treat you any different. Everyone's kind of equal on the team, so.
Nice.
This is our interview with Andrew Still, a 3-season varsity athlete, and Alex's chin strap. Okay, let's go.
So first question, why do you choose to practice out of school? I practice out of school because I really like playing volleyball. And I also really want to get better because when I go to college I'm going to be playing club there, so there's always time to improve.
A player exercises his agency to improve by choosing to practice out of school on a club team.
The next question is, do you have to try out? Yeah, there's about, tryout process is about 3 days, and we work on different skills every day, and there's about 50 kids trying out for 2 teams in the club. Is money an issue for members trying out to join the team? Yeah, sometimes there will be kids that can't afford, like the tryout's $50 or something around that, and then actually if you make the team, it's a pretty decent amount of money. So sometimes kids can't afford it, so the club will help them pay for it because they really want them on the team. And sometimes maybe other parents will help out the other family that wants to have their kid play.
Money constrains members from joining the team, but players have the agency to find a solution to these problems.
How does playing out of school affect the way you're perceived by other members on your team? So on my school team, it does change it a little bit because like I have more experience playing the sport, and I've also had more experience playing the sport over time generally. But since like I have that experience playing outside of school, there's more of like a leadership role in that I know what's going on and I know like the different ways that like I should be leading the team. And because I like the way that we play outside of school, it's like a higher level of play. So you know sometimes you're gonna understand things better than the kids that are just playing in the school. Do you feel obligated to express more leadership qualities because you play on a club team? Yes and no, and yes because, as I said before, like the level of play is different, and you know once you experience that higher level of play, you understand how to take different situations better than someone who may not have that experience. And no, not really, because just because I'm playing out of school, I don't feel like that I'm higher than everybody else. It's just that I play at a different level at different times, so I still have that high level of play experience, but it still needs to be. I still need to be able to lead kids that are like in a lower level. So, yeah.
Different forms of power demand different responses. While some require our participation, others require total passivity. Being on a club sport, some players feel like they have more of a responsibility to exercise leadership and power on a team.
Do you feel a difference when you play a sport that is a team effort as opposed to a sport where your performance is based solely on yourself?
Well, in a team effort, I feel like I'm subjected to like listening to my teammates and the coaches, like and the team captains as being an authority. And there is some constraints because although I have like my free will to, you know, do what I want, there's I express my agency in that I have to, you know, follow the orders that are given to me play by play. So.
How are you constrained on a team sport by authoritative figures like captains and coaches?
Well, in a team sport, they tell you what to do, and in that sense, like, you can either follow it or not, but since it is a team sport, you have to, like, follow the rules, like, in order to do good, because team is like, missions.
Do you always abide by the plays dictated by the quarterback and coaches?
For the most part, yes. You want to follow the rules. Like the coaches may call the plays, but you know, the quarterback, like him being subject to his teammates and what he sees on the field, like feels like he can make an audible, then he'll change it up and he'll use his own free will and he'll express his agency in that, you know, he'll change things and do it his own way despite what his higher authority has told him to do.
And what's the relationship between older and younger teammates?
I feel that the older teammates are subjected in a like higher sense, in that the authority like treats them with more experience, and you know they're like more well respected since they're like upperclassmen, and they've been there, they've been around the block. And then the younger players, you know, they're subject to everyone else that's older than them, the people that have more experience and are more well-rounded and more respected. And I feel like they're subjected to the orders of everyone else that has the higher authority. So.
What power do you have as a coach?
As a coach, you have the power to help children become the best that they are able and willing to do the work for.
How much power do you have over your team members?
Okay, what do you mean by power when you say this?
We're doing something on agency, so power, like you would tell them like when they have to come to practice, you have to like
how much
stuff like that.
Authority do I have over
Yeah,
them?
like authority.
Okay. I decide when practices are, I decide how long practices are, I decide what we do during practice. I decide the lineups, and I also defer sometimes to my assistant coach. But the ultimate authority, the ultimate power lies with me. Good or bad.
The coach has the authority to tell the players when practice is, but ultimately the players, despite being subjects of the team, decide for themselves if they want to commit to coming to practice.
Does your team always come to practice, and if not, what do you do about it?
No, what's happened over the years is they now have too many things going on. Everybody's involved in 4 or 5 different things every season. Plus schoolwork that's putting more and more pressure on them every day. So the child a lot of times feels torn. Where do I go? What do I do? It's very rare that you have someone who shows up every day, even when they're sick.
Other activities limit an athlete's agency to excel at the sport because they cannot attend practice every day. Do you ever notice an athlete not following your guidance, and how do you feel about it?
Yes, I do. It happens every year. There's always somebody who decides they don't want to do what they're told, what they're supposed to do. It upsets me because it has a negative effect on the team and doesn't allow the child to reach the goals that they want for that year.
We cannot, in other words, ignore the fact that people create history by doing things. History is made rather than found. Subjects have agency, the ability to respond to their historical context, and with any luck at all, change them in the process. The coach can only do so much to guide the team members. It is the players who respond to their context and choose their own paths.